Welcome back to the live webinar here from BINA. A continuation of the topic, the Torah's view on celebrating a birthday. On Monday, we discussed the various views and reasons that are against the idea of celebrating a birthday and how it does not fit with Torah. I'll just want to summarize this in brief. First of all, the only clear birthday that is celebrated in the Torah itself is the birthday of Parai, a wicked king. Why would we want to emulate a wicked person? Number two, the attitude in the Talmud and in our sages' words seem to be that the birth of a person is not necessarily a cause for celebration. On the contrary, only after a person has passed away, we can then celebrate that person's achievements. When somebody is born, how do you know what they will be like the rest of their life? You don't know if they'll be good or they'll be the opposite. So therefore, there's no real reason to celebrate the day that you were born. Rather, you should celebrate your actual accomplishments, the good things that you have done in your life. Number three, it may, according to some opinions, fall under the category of chukos hagoyim, things that you are not allowed to do, that Jewish people are not allowed to do, and because they are the ways of the world, they are the ways of the non-Jews, and we have to make sure we keep our special identity, and therefore we should not be doing what we should not be practicing the customs of the non-Jews, and a birthday may fall under that category. And argument number four was that we do find in the Talmud and various sources of people who celebrated their birthday, but it seems to be that that's unique for righteous people, big tzaddikim, great sages, who truly had accomplishments and great things to celebrate because on the day that they were born. We mentioned various Gdolei Yisrael, various halachic authorities who are against the idea of celebrating a birthday. Today, I would like to discuss the other side of the coin. And the first thing I would like to do is to bring a list of Gdolei Yisrael, of great halachic authorities and great sages, great tzaddikim, who first of all may have celebrated their own birthday, or it was the custom of their family, or even more so, they encouraged other people to do so as well. Then I would like to bring, as much as we can, sources in Torah for this, and then the reasoning behind it, for what reason, what is the cause of a celebration on a birthday. The Metzudas David, based on a pasuk in Hosea, a verse in Hosea, he's one of the commentaries on Tanakh, he says that the Jewish kings used to make a simcha, a great celebration out of their birthdays. In the Gemara, we brought this on Monday, the Talmud tells us that Rabbi Yosef, when he turned 60, he made a special party, a great celebration, and he invited the great sages of that generation. We find another concept, that the birthdays of certain great people were cause for great salvation over many generations and many occurrences. So for example, our forefather Yitzchak Avinu, was born on the 15th day of Nisan. Many years later, the Jews left Egypt on that day. And it is connected to the merit of Yitzchak that he was born on that day. Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses was born on the 7th day of the month of Adar, and we all know the famous story that when Haman wanted to destroy the Jewish people, he cast lots, and the lottery fell out on the month of Adar to destroy the Jewish people, and he was very happy because he said that the leader of the Jewish nation, Moshe Rabbeinu, had passed away in the month of Adar, also on the 7th day of Adar. But what he didn't realize was that it was the same day that Noilad Mashiach Shel Yisrael, that Moshe Rabbeinu was born on that day, and therefore there was a great merit, and in merit of that, the salvation of Purim, the great salvation of the Jewish people, happened in the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu's birthday. We find that on Shavuos, the day of the giving of the Torah, David HaMelech was born, King David was born, and that is greatly emphasized. Lag BaOmer is most well known for being the yahrzeit, the anniversary of the passing of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, but there are also sources that say that it is actually his birthday, and that is one of the reasons for the great celebration. the 9th of Av being the saddest day in the Jewish calendar, the day where we mourn the destruction of the temple, the Talmud Yerushalmi tells us that it is also Mashiach's birthday. At the time of the destruction, there was a whole story how a non-Jewish person told his Jewish neighbor that besides for the fact that the temple was destroyed, but you should also know that Noilad Mashiach Shel Yisrael, that Mashiach was born on that day. Whether that means the person or that means the concept is a separate discussion. But we see the idea that the birthday of all these great people gave us great merit and was a cause for many salvations and many festivals which we celebrate. The Ben Ish Chai, a great Sephardic halachic authority, says that he brings a custom that some people make a celebration on their birthday, and he finishes off with the words V'chein nohug b'baseinu, so too is the minig, is the custom in our household. That means in his household they used to celebrate their birthdays. The Ben Yehoyada, based on a Gemara in Tractate Brachas, says that a birthday is like a festival. One should treat a birthday like a Yom Tov, like a festival. The Baal Shem Tov, the founder of the Hasidic movement, used to celebrate his birthday on the 18th of the month of Elul and is celebrated by many of his followers till today. The Lubavitcher Rebbe, in 1988, after the passing of his wife, Rebbetzin Chaya Mushka, came out with what he called the birthday campaign with specific instructions as to how to celebrate a birthday, and he greatly pushed this idea that every Jew should celebrate their birthday. Avadi Yosef, another great Sephardic halachic authority of our generation, says that if someone makes a meal for his birthday, in honor of his birthday, and says words of Torah, that meal goes under the category of a sudas mitzvah, a meal of a mitzvah, which turns it into a very important and great celebration. The Ginzei Yosef brings that great people used to try and eat a new fruit on the day of their birthday in order to try and make a shechiyonu blessing. The blessing which you make on a new fruit, obviously you can't just make that on your birthday, but if you have a new fruit, that you eat that new fruit specifically in order to try and make that blessing of shechiyonu. It's brought down that the Ksav Sofer used to make a siyum. He used to end a tractate in Talmud every year on his birthday and make a meal. And it says on his 50th birthday, he made a shechiyonu blessing and made a siyum. He finished tractate of Psachim. So that's a long list of people, of great halachic authorities, great sages, great tzaddikim, who encouraged either themselves or others to celebrate the birthday. What's the reason to celebrate a birthday? So we find, of course, in halacha that when a baby is born, it is a cause for great celebration. The parents of that baby, if it's a boy, make a bracha hatoy v'hametiv. If it's a girl, make a bracha shechiyonu. But either way, it is a bracha thanking God for the great celebration of a baby being born. Of course, it is self-understood that it's not only a celebration for the parents who had the child, but it is also a celebration for the child itself, himself or herself. It's only that, of course, a baby is unable to realize the great blessing of life that it was just given, and is also unable to make a blessing, of course. So therefore, the parents sort of, besides making a blessing of their joy, also make a blessing for the child, thanking God for giving this child life. We have the concept that Mashiach will only come after all the souls were born. The Talmud says that there is a treasure house in heaven that it's called Guf, and in it are all the Jewish souls that will be born over all generations. And it says, Ein ben David ba ad sheyichla kol haneshama shebeguf. Mashiach will only come after all the souls have descended into a body and become a person. So therefore, when a Jewish child is born, that's a cause for a great celebration, because that is another step closer to the coming of Mashiach. This is all connected to also another concept. The Gemara in Brachas, in the last chapter, says that Haroye mokim shenasel nes chayiv levarich. If you pass by a place, which at that place God has performed for you a miracle in the past, not today, it happened to you in the past, you have to make a blessing every time you pass by that place, as long as it has been 30 days since the last time you have seen it. Why? Because the place reminds you of the great miracle that God has performed for you, and therefore you make a blessing praising God for that great miracle. The same thing should apply when it comes to the idea of time. Every year, when it comes to your birthday, it comes the day when the greatest miracle of all happened to you. That you were given the gift of life. What could be a bigger miracle than that? And therefore it makes sense that it comes the day that that happened, you should give a special thanks to God. We mentioned on Monday that Amalek, the wicked nation of Amalek, had a tactic. They would send soldiers to war when it was their birthday. Why? Because Mazolei Goiver, the luck of a person shines on that day. Now, they were very wicked, but they weren't wrong in this, actually. They knew what they were talking about, and they were right. That person did have special luck, and therefore it says that Moshe Rabbeinu had to switch things in heaven. He had to switch the various mazolis, the various powers that actually that person's luck shouldn't shine. But in truth, they're actually right, that on a person's birthday, Mazolei Goiver, they have a special power from heaven, from Hashem, obviously, that shines on that day. The question which we still have to resolve are the two things which we said on Monday. First of all, we only find really in the Talmud examples of tzaddikim, of righteous people celebrating their birthdays. And also it seems like the attitude is that it's the expression which is used is noyach lo la'adam shlei nivra. It's better that a person shouldn't be created because when they're created, who knows what they will do. So this idea, one of the examples that we brought was Rab Shimon Bar Yochai used to make a meal. He made a meal for his son's bar mitzvah. This is not only a custom that was reserved for Rab Shimon Bar Yochai. The Magin Avram, a great halachic authority, brings it down la halacha. This is actually the halacha. This is the law that every person should make a big meal, a great celebration when their son becomes bar mitzvah. The same problem that we have when someone's born, and who knows what's going to happen, should also apply by a bar mitzvah. Just because a child has turned 13 and has now become obligated in fulfilling God's commandments, who knows what will happen? Maybe the child won't. Why are we celebrating? So the answer is based on the principle, Kol Yisrael b'cheskas kashrus. Every Jew, we can assume them to go in the right way, even though we don't know 100% for sure, but the assumption is that the person will do the right thing. When a person turns bar mitzvah and becomes obligated in mitzvahs, in God's commandments, we celebrate because we assume, we give him the benefit of the doubt that in his future life, he will go in the path of God. And in more of a general sense, we can say the same thing about a birthday, that when a person is born, although yes, we do not know what will happen, but since Kol Yisrael b'cheskas kashrus will give the benefit of the doubt that why should we assume that he'll become bad? He'll probably will be good and probably will fulfill God's commandments, and therefore it is a cause of celebration. The meaning of the saying of Chazal, Noyach loy la'adam shloi nivra, which I have translated till now as it is better that a person should not have been born, may actually be an incorrect translation. The word Noyach actually means it would have been easier. It would have been more pleasant. Because yes, it would have been easier for the soul not to descend into a body. It's a big struggle for a person to be alive, a soul and a body, and actually serve God. There are many temptations from within, from without. Therefore, yes, it is easier if the soul just remains tachas kisei hakaved, under God's throne, with no obstacles, with no disruptions. It's harder when a person is born. But the preciousness of life, the opportunity that a Jew has after he or she is born to serve God is priceless and is worth more than anything else. Therefore, to summarize this view of looking at it, that definitely is a very good thing to celebrate a birthday. And it is a day, and obviously, just to say again, not to celebrate it like in a non-Jewish fashion, just to make a party and celebrate nothing, but obviously in a Jewish fashion, to make a meal, to make a gathering of people where we praise God, where we take on new resolutions for the future in our service to God, and thank God for the precious gift of life and to be alive as a Jew that we are able to serve Him. Have a good day.